In that very moment, we were told that my husband has cancer. We were told that the cancer cells were very active and that he needed to start chemotherapy in 2 weeks' time. We had just gotten married about 5 days before finding out that he had cancer. Having to fly back an emergency flight back to England to find out this news was heartbreaking. We looked at each other in shock. We couldn't believe this is what we were coming home to. As he was in hospital and I was home alone, I would just cry. I would cry, not being able to control how I felt. Although at the same time I'm trying to be strong as a wife, but seeing your husband in pain in the hospital bed, with you not being able to do anything, with the doctor saying this is it, you know, we need to do chemo, and then in the future look to operate and remove the tumour, which means he'd be off work for about 2 years and he won't be able to walk, he won't be able to speak properly, he won't be able to move the side of his face where the tumour was. I was in the church and I decided to turn the situation around by using my faith. We started doing purposes, I started praying, I started using my faith and changing my mindset, not thinking that this will happen in a negative way, but something positive will come out of this, that this situation can change. The day that he went to go and sign the papers for the chemotherapy, he was told that he no longer has to do the chemotherapy because the cancer cells have stopped. And when he told me this, I was in so much shock and so happy that God had really answered and changed and began to change the situation around. Now my husband is cancer-free. We are so happy. I love him so much, more than even before. And I can see that so many other things, positive things are going to be happening for both of us because our faith, using our faith, has never let us down.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's Finding Answers. Now, the topic for tonight is, what will you be remembered for? How would you like to be remembered when you leave this world? Well, actually, you don't need to die, but how would you like people to talk about you as you get older? That's tonight's topic. You know, would you like to be someone like, say, Nelson Mandela, who changed a nation, who influenced a nation? Maybe you want to be someone like Michael Jackson, whose talent helped people, I wouldn't say helped, but entertained millions of people all around the world. Or maybe you have a talent in technology, innovation, like Steve Jobs. Now, these are just 3 people who have been remembered. I think all of them have died now, haven't they? Nelson Mandela died, didn't he? Did he die? I think he did. Yeah. So you see, they've all passed away, but they are all remembered for something that they've done. They've marked, you know, this world with their achievements in some way. So how do you want to be remembered? Let's take a look at the video for tonight to explain about tonight's topic.
It has been suggested that the effect that you have on others is one of the most important things to bring pride and contentment. So, do you have a positive effect on others? Are you an inspiration? You may not realise it, but the closer personally and physically we are to others, the greater our influence over them. You may not think that your actions are influencing others, but you never know who is watching you. It could be your child, your siblings, your spouse, friends, or even a stranger. Emotions and behaviours are spread and transmitted to others. Are you a good example? What will you be remembered for? If you can't think of anything positive, then maybe it's time to convert those bad behaviours and negative influences into something positive and inspirational for others. Plus, the more positive things you do in your life, the better you will feel. The best way to turn a bad influence into a good one is by consistently challenging your own negativity. This can be a difficult task, but not impossible. What will you be remembered for?
You know, on Finding Answers, we bring on guests who achieve what seems to be difficult or even impossible to achieve. And our aim is to help you to start believing in yourself. Even if no one believes in you, we believe that you and your life can change. So no matter what you're going through, no matter how hard things may be in your life, you still can turn things around and be remembered for something positive. But maybe, just maybe at this precise moment, when people talk about you, when they describe you to someone, maybe right now you are labeled as a prostitute. Maybe you're labeled as a crack addict. Maybe you're labeled as an abusive person, an angry person. Well, on tonight's program, that's exactly who we have on the program. She will be discussing or telling us how she was a prostitute. She was a crack addict. And I won't tell you any more, but she'll explain it in more detail. And for a majority of you watching now, maybe you don't have that label with you now. But she has changed her life around. And there's more to her story, but you'll hear that later on in the program. So with me is Victoria. Hi, Victoria.
Hiya.
How are you doing?
Very good, thanks.
Tonight's topic, how would you, Victoria, like to be remembered? What would you want on your epitaph? Epitaph? Epitaph. Whatever it is. How would you like to be remembered?
Stop asking me questions I don't know the answer to. I have no idea. Generally nice person.
Yeah.
Nothing too extravagant, I don't think.
But you made an influence. You helped people. You did something positive.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, research has been conducted into how people would like to be remembered. And the main two things that they say is to be a positive role model and to be inspirational.
Right.
So I'd be happy with the positive role model one.
Yeah, I think everyone would like to be positive, to, you know, be a good example in life, right? But maybe, as I said, at this moment, you don't see yourself in that position yet. That's why we have this program, to help you to achieve what you want, to make you see that you can reach where you dream to be. And maybe you can't see your dreams materialize at the moment. All right? So if this program, actually, this topic, you are interested in it, stay with us, because we're going to open the phone lines now. And if at any moment what you hear from tonight's guest, if it touches you in any way, maybe you're going through something similar to my guest, or maybe it triggers off something in you and you'd like to call in, please feel free to pick up the phone now. The number's on the screen. It's 0207 686 6300. I'm going to hand you over to Victoria, who's going to tell us the other details if you want to email in.
So if you'd like to email us, our email address is help@findinganswers.tv, or you can talk to us via social media. You can send us a tweet. Just start your tweet with @FindAnswersTV, or search for us on Facebook. Just search for Finding Answers.
There you go. The line's open now. So if you'd like to give us a call, if you like a personal prayer even, then you can use that number. All right? We're going to go for a break now. When we come back, I know there's going to be a lot to talk about. That's why I'm going for an earlier break than usual, so we can come back and hear our guest story for tonight. We'll see you after this.
steering killer drones. Missiles won't reach Syria for several months, but it says this will sell big fighter jets to the Assad.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Now, if you just joined us, tonight's topic is, what will you be remembered for? And as I mentioned before the break, the lines are open if you like to call in at any time, if you can relate to anything on tonight's story, okay? My guest for this evening is Maxine Campbell.
It's pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
So Maxine, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Now, you have a really deep story to tell,
Yes.
right? And it started off from when you were, what, 5 years old, was it?
I was about 5.
5 years old. And this happened in Jamaica, where you were born? Were you born there?
Yeah, I was born there. I lived with my grandmother, and I was abused by a family member.
Right.
And
Sexually abused?
Sexually abused.
Right.
I didn't really know what was going on at the time, but it kind of affected me growing up. So when I came over to this country, I knew something had happened to me, but I didn't know. And my sister as well, because it happened to my sister. So when I tried to speak to her, she didn't want to speak about it. So I was really angry.
When did you open up about that? How old were you at the time?
I think I was about 9 or 10, because I used to kind of have nightmares. I used to wake up in the middle of the night screaming. And then I remember I was speaking to my sister, but she said that she didn't want to speak about it.
So it's funny because you were sexually abused at 5.
Yeah, up until I was 8 before I came here.
From 5 to 8, so
Yeah.
it's 3 years
Yeah.
of abuse. And at 8 years old, did you still understand what was going on?
I kind of.
You kind of
Yeah,
did.
kind of.
So
but
that did have an effect on
yeah,
you.
yeah.
And then you, as you said, you started having nightmares.
Yeah.
Was that in Jamaica or when you came to the
When
UK?
I came over here.
So how was that? How difficult was that for you? I mean, you must have kept it in.
I kept it in, and I didn't know, because as well, the abuser at the time, it was like a secret, so I wasn't allowed to speak. And I was scared as well to go and tell my mum. I didn't really know my mum either, because my gran looked after us. So to open up to someone that I didn't know, so I kept everything to myself. Because I thought it was me as well. I thought it was my fault. Right. Even though I was young at the time, I blamed myself for allowing that to happen. Mm-hmm. And then I kind of held grudges against my mum because she left us there. I blamed her for leaving us there at the hands.
Now she was in the UK.
She was in the UK.
Start a better life.
Yeah, she was working. So she was working. She was saving to send for us to come back so we can live over here with her. So my grandmother and my granddad was in care.
So when you came to the UK, to your mum, obviously you must have had like a really bad relationship with your mum because of that.
Yeah, because of that. And plus as well, I didn't know her because I was very young when my mum left to come. So I didn't really know her. So I started giving problems as soon as I came over this country.
Tell us how it affected you. What kind of things did you do?
I was just not listening to my mum, was very rebellious, wanted to fight her. Many a times we had physical fights in the house. Started running away at a very young age. I think I was about 11 or 12.
Where would you go?
Just stay at a friend's house for days, 2-3 days.
And not tell your mum?
Not tell anyone until the police used to pick me up. And then also just started smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol from the age of 12, and just doing whatever. I didn't really go to school. I used to just bunk off school, and I was just living my own life. It was just like I was just angry all the time. I was angry with everybody.
What was like when did things start to go really bad for you? What did you start doing to yourself or to other people?
When I got to about 14, 15, I was sleeping around from a young age.
Really?
Yeah, and
was that with boys your age or older men?
Older men.
Now, why would you do that?
I don't know. I think because of what happened to me, every time when I was with somebody, I used to think that I had to give myself to that person. And
so, in other words, these men would fancy you or show an interest in you.
Yeah.
And instead of you saying, no, I'm not interested, you would, because of the attention, obviously you would give yourself to that person.
And as well, I didn't have a relationship with my mum, so I craved attention. Attention. And I craved love as well. So it was my way of trying to find love, but I was trying to find it in a wrong way. And but it affected me later on in life, because every relationship that I had, that's how I used to have a relationship, and then it used to break down. And I think it was because I was kind of easy, you know. It was easy for a man to kind of be with me, but I used to just think that's how I had to be, and I didn't have a role model, so I didn't have a dad to sort of tell me, or it was only I didn't have no one to confide in as well. So you fell pregnant when you were 15 years old, your first child. Yeah. And how many children did you have altogether? 13. 13 children. Yes.
We're going to go into that. So basically at 15 you had your first child, you fell pregnant?
Yeah.
And that was while you were at school?
Yeah.
So did you actually finish school?
No, I left school. I left school just before I had my daughter, and I didn't go back to school. Right. I studied after later on when I was in my mid-30s, but I didn't.
So with your first child, you know, were you there for your child, or were you, because you just mentioned you had 13 children. Yeah. So were you there for your child, or, you know, did you kind of dump your child on your mum or someone else and still live free?
I had 4 of my children, and everything was going okay.
So you had 3 other children?
Yeah, I had 3 other children after that.
With the same person?
With different dads. And I think when I was pregnant with my 4th one, I was in a relationship with somebody, and I found that person in bed with someone else. And it was from then, my lifestyle just went down. It affected me. I was drinking heavily.
That's when you started to drink, because
your
partner was cheating on you? Okay.
Yeah, I was drinking before, but then I started drinking heavily. And then it got to me drinking other things, like really strong drinks. I used to drink like a bottle of vodka a day. And then I started taking, I was smoking weed, I was taking ecstasy, I was taking speed.
Was this at home, or was this like going out?
It was going out, and it was and at home. The speed I used to take for so I could kind of do things in the house, because I used to be so intoxicated with the alcohol. I needed that speed so I could kind of get on with my everyday life, because I had 4 children at the time, young children as well. So yeah, there was like one after the other. So
your kids were at that time going to school?
Yeah, they was going to school, and then.
So were you looking after them at that time?
Yeah.
You were. So what did anyone kind of pick up on your kids? I don't know, their behaviour or the way they were dressed or anything like that?
No,
at that time?
I was looking at. I was, you know, I was able to function, and still sort of like take them to school, going to the school, like everything was fine, but inside it wasn't, at home it wasn't like that. Then what happened was, when I started taking cocaine, and at the time it wasn't a problem for me. I was still functioning, but one day someone introduced me to crack cocaine, and that's when everything started falling to pieces.
This was the lifestyle you're living.
Yeah.
Was this at nightclubs and things like that?
It was in my house. I used to do a lot of fraud. So me and my friend used to go out, we used to do fraud, we used to shoplift. And this is how I used to kind of fund my habit.
Right.
Yeah, and then
would you use that money for your kids?
For my kids, but mostly for the drugs.
Right.
So so I exchanged the drugs for my kids.
Right.
And then afterwards, what happened was very quickly, I thought it wasn't a problem, but very quickly my mum picked up on it because she was coming to the house. She was seeing things that wasn't being done.
Mm-hmm.
The school got involved because my kids wasn't coming to school. And it was just neglect.
They weren't going to school?
They wasn't going to school properly. They was going to school like, 2 days and 3 days they might not go.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they started getting...
And why was that? Was that because you were so high? Was that because you were just depressed and you stayed in bed? Why weren't you bothered to take them to school?
Because basically my lifestyle was I used to drink. I used to have, it's called binges. So I used to binge for 3 days, 4 days, sitting up, smoking crack, drinking alcohol, hadn't slept. So I wasn't functioning properly. So the times that they never used to go to school is because I was sleeping, because I wasn't able to get them ready to take them to school. Social services got involved, and then my kids got taken away from me. But at the time, my mum and my cousin stepped in and took my kids. And then afterwards, later on, my mum ended up being took sole custody of 4 of my kids.
Right.
And my cousin intervened and took my other 2, so 6 of them.
So you had more kids by this time?
I had more kids.
Now, what was the reason for having more kids? Is it because the same thing, you felt alone, you felt neglected? I think,
I felt alone and neglected, but also I wanted my kids around. And so I had many kids thinking that I could be able to look after them, but I wasn't able because I wasn't functioning. Because I think as well, that time I didn't think it was a problem. I used to just think it was everybody else's, but it wasn't a problem for me.
So you mentioned to me before the program started that when your 4 kids were taken to care, you decided to have more kids.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like a replacement. Yeah.
Right. So was that with other men?
Yeah, other men.
And were these guys, were they taking drugs as well? How did you meet these different men in your life?
Some of them was taking drugs, some of them was addicted. The lifestyle that I was living as well, where I was kind of careless, and so I wasn't using protection and things like that. So it was just the lifestyle that I was living that I was ended up pregnant, with kids and everything. So
you basically, not only did you neglected your kids, you neglected yourself as well. But you didn't care.
No, I didn't care because the drugs had a hold on me. So it was for me, it was to block out everything, that all the pain that I was feeling. That was just to block out everything. I didn't want to think. I didn't want to think about what was going on with me. So that was how I used to live my life, because every time. When I was in my addiction, when I was drinking, when I was smoking, I never had to think about losing my kids, losing my house. So for me, and when I was sober and I was able to think, it was just too much. So
it repeated the same thing again.
It repeated, yeah.
Tell me about how did you get into prostitution?
Basically, I used to do fraud and everything, and it was just fraud. It was okay, I used to do that in the daytime where it's a shoplift. I do fraud, go into the shops, but then night times where I wanted more crack cocaine to smoke, wanted more alcohol, it was that's what I used to do in the night time, to go and prostitute myself to feed my habit.
Your body.
Yeah.
So you'd actually dress up, go out on the streets, and this is in London, right?
Yeah.
And were there other prostitutes in the area?
There was loads of us that used to be on the road selling ourselves, and this is what we used to do. We used to, be out the whole night.
How much should you sell your body for?
It depends, £20.
£20?
Yeah. as little as that.
And you had probably the weirdest, craziest men, you know, stopping you and...
Yeah, and risk as well, because many times, well, about 2 occasions, I was raped as well.
By total strangers?
Yeah, no, because I got in someone's car and that's what they wanted to do, so... But you couldn't go to the police and report it because what you was doing, so... And you was taking risk as well. I've had knife pulled out on me, and because of the lifestyle that I was living, so... They don't care because that's what you're doing, so...
Would you go to your house or would you go to their place?
No,
or somewhere
sometimes
else?
we go to houses, or sometimes we just go like a remote place and we do what we had to do, you know, our business there. And
yeah.
Yeah.
How did you feel going home? I mean, did you ever have a time to kind of sit and reflect and think, you know what, is this how my life's going to be? Or, you know, were you always high to forget about your problems?
I was always high, but there was times where I used to think of having my kids back. That's what I wanted. I wanted my children back. I wanted my family back. And as well, through that lifestyle that I was living, I lost contact with my other family, like my mum. I didn't see my mum for many years. So I didn't have that contact. The only people that I knew was either drug dealers, prostitutes, or that's the people that I knew. They was like my family, but it wasn't the same because I missed that being at home, you know, being at home, just having your own house, because I was homeless as well. So I used to kind of sleep in houses, like crack houses. I used to sleep I used to go from house to house, living with different people, living with strangers, people that I didn't know. And it was, I didn't want that lifestyle. But through the addiction, how it took me, it was just like, I don't know, I just thought that this is how my life was going to be.
I don't think anyone who lives in that situation wants to be in that situation, right? You didn't want to be there,
no,
but
I didn't.
Unfortunately, you found yourself in this situation through no fault of your own, right?
Yeah.
I mean, some people may say, you know what, you could have changed. You could have come out of that lifestyle. You could have done something, right? But in your case, and I think for many others, you know, it was hard. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, if anything has touched you, what Maxine has said, maybe you are a prostitute. Maybe you are an addict. No matter what, whether it's weed to crack cocaine. Maybe it's something else. You've been abused and you want help. You want someone to talk to. Believe me, when you talk, when you express what you're going through, it's like a weight off of your shoulders. We're going to go for a break, and when we come back, we're going to hear how Maxine turned her life around. So if you think it's shocking, you know, the best is yet to come. We'll see you after this.
My lifestyle before coming to the church was quite a reckless one. I used to go out clubbing every night. I used to lie in bed most of the day. I wasn't working, and I hadn't worked for about 15 years. My lowest point was when I stood on the edge of King's Cross Underground Station, and I really wanted to jump in the underground because I was just feeling so low, so depressed. I've been free from this addiction, it must be about 16 years now. I don't go to clubs anymore. I'm not addicted anymore.
Are you a duck? What can it do? It swims. It walks. It flies. But does it do them all well? Yes, a duck can do all of the above, but it's not known for being great at any. So, are you a duck? Rather than attempting to do all things, why not be the best at one thing at a time? You will find you'll actually learn to be great at more things.
Mum, have I ever told you how uniquely special you are? No one else supported me for 9 months in her room, feeling pain and discomfort. I say this very little, but you are incredible. Thank you. For the moments you've had to stay up late taking care of me. For the strength you've shown when all seemed to be failing. For believing in my potential. Thank you for every moment you looked at me, wondering what on earth you were going to do with me. Mum, thank you for the words of encouragement that still keep me going. Mum, God will never forget you and continue to bless all that you do. This special day is dedicated to you, dearest mother. Won't you accept my invitation to be my guest of honor? You are specially invited to this unique Mothering Sunday, 10 a.m. at your local UCKG Help Centre, where you will receive a special gift just for you. A beautiful rose. For more information, call 020 7686 6000 or visit uckg.org.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Tonight our topic is what will you be remembered for? So as usual, we've been out and about talking to the general public on the streets of London about this topic.
Definitely depression is probably number one.
They're arguing and they're talking negatively about each other.
What is more valuable than another? And so
you can have as many friends and family as you want. It just depends.
Is a common regret, like, oh, like I should have like asked that person out, or like.
Hi, I'm Chika here on the streets of London for Finding Answers. So it can be said that the legacy we leave behind can be the currency of life. So I'm going to ask the public what they would like to be remembered for. Let's see what they say. What would you like to be remembered for?
I think just as someone that kind of gave a lot of themselves to others, as well as, you know, achieving, you know, what I've achieved. Yeah, just kind of leaving a positive impact, leaving the world a little bit better than, you know, without me being here, maybe. I don't know.
I want my legacy to be just to save souls, just to see people clean and healthy like me now. That's my legacy. That's what I want to do. Just see people just prosper, just be good and prosperous.
I would like to be remembered in a good way. As a good person, with no violence, without anything. That's it.
I'd like to be remembered for being a nice guy. I'm going to keep it short and simple. Look down the lens and tell you I'm a nice guy.
A nice guy. All right. Well, that's how some people like to be remembered. But what about you? How would you like to be remembered? You know, do you want to make an impact in this world, right? Or are you a person that just thinks of themselves? Maybe want to be a nice guy. Well, anyway, let's go back to our guest, Maxine. How are you?
I'm okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask, before we talk about how you turned your life around, what was the worst moment in your life?
I think losing my kids. Realising that I couldn't, because four of my kids got adopted, and I wasn't able to get myself together to fight for them. So that was the worst moment.
Did that kind of sober you up or kind of make you think, hold on, now they've taken away from me, let me try to change my lifestyle? Or did you just got worse?
I think it made me worse. It made me worse, and it made me kind of, the whole social services kind of hated them, hated every authority. And I sort of like, what happened was one got one got taken, and then I had another one. Then it
Another child, you
yeah,
mean?
and then it ended up 4 of them altogether got adopted.
Right.
And so that was the worst moment, and yeah.
It wasn't the fact that it's not the drugs. I mean, were you ever suicidal?
Yeah.
Did you ever want to take your life? I mean, did you actually try to take your life?
I used to. I had wanted to take tablets. I never ever tried to, but I used to hear voices telling me to go and jump. You might as well kill yourself because you haven't got your kids. And that used to go around my head all the time.
Yeah.
But I wasn't kind of. I did one time, got to the 12th floor and climbed out of a window and was going to jump, and it was my friend that was calling me, and I was like, what am I doing, kind of thing. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank God you didn't.
Yeah.
Right? So tell us now, how did your life change? Because you're a different Maxine.
Yes.
Right? I can see, everyone can see you're not, high on drugs anymore.
No.
You're not living that lifestyle. You are happy, right? Tell us, how did things start to change for you?
I got invited. There was a gentleman that I used to see all the time, and I always used to have a beer in my hand, and he always used to speak to me. He used to invite me to the church. And then I kept on seeing him, and he kept on inviting me. And one day, I remember I came. I was in Stamford Hill when I entered. And I remember speaking to one of the pastors that was there, and just telling him everything that was going on in my life at the time.
Your children, the drugs,
with my children,
everything.
How I came, because as well, when I came, my daughter was in care. She was I think she was about 2 or 3 months old. So she was in care, and I just spoke everything. And it was the first time that I felt like someone was like listening to me. And when I left, it was like that heaviness that I had, it kind of left me. So that's how I came back. He invited me to come on the Sunday, and I came, and I started coming, I started attending, and also as well, it gave me the strength because I was really fighting to get my daughter back, and they was giving me...
Sorry to stop you there. You said you started, was it during the week, and you went that Sunday to the church? I
came on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday he invited me to come back.
The next day?
Yeah, the next day, so I came.
But let me ask you something. Were you, at any point, did you ever pray at all?
Yeah, because I remember when my daughter, because she was like my fifth child, that I was going to kind of lose her to, social service was going to take her. I remember that at that time I was going to court because I was trying to get myself sorted out, but I was going to court, and it was the first time that I ever sort of went to the court, but it was really hard for me. And I kind of remember sort of walking down the road, and I was saying a prayer, I asked God to help me I needed help. And I remember as I was saying it, something was saying to me, go in this place, go in that place.
And was it in that church?
Yeah, it was the church.
But did you go in?
Yeah, I went straight in. I didn't know what it was, and I went and I saw the pastor there, and I was speaking to him.
Right.
And then it was so weird, and then it was just that peace that I had.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was a feeling that I never had before.
What did you learn going to church? I mean, listen to the messages. What did you get from, the sermons, the services, what the pastor was saying? What did you get from there?
For me, it was the words that they were saying to me, the positive words that I got from them. That because at the time, what I was going through, they was telling me that I can do it, I can make it, that there's nothing that I couldn't do. And it was the words that they was encouraging me, that my life can change. And it was the first time that it's like someone believed in me. So,
but the thing is,
it wasn't
as simple as that.
Was
it?
It wasn't. And because for me to have my child back as well, I had to prove to them, because I had this thing with social services. So basically they was telling me that, because of my lifestyle that I was living, I had to prove to them that I was able to look after my child. So they sort of because I was kind of I didn't want to listen to what they were saying to me. And they said, no, you have to listen to them, because I had to prove to them that I can look after the child. But it was the how can I say, the things that they was giving me, like to say, okay, I'm going to do this. So anything that they told me to do, I done it. I took part in the chain of prayer, and was like really fighting, you know, from not just for my daughter, just for myself as well, because I didn't want to be like that anymore. I didn't want to live that lifestyle anymore.
So tell me, when you started going to church, you were still taking drugs?
I was, yes and no.
Okay.
And then when I got my daughter back, I wasn't taking drugs.
So from going to church,
yeah,
how long afterwards did you completely stop the drugs, that you stopped selling your body? How long after did you start seeing a change?
When I came to the church, I'd stopped selling my body.
Right.
And then not too long after, I literally stopped smoking. It wasn't long, it was about probably a few weeks into, but I still had, how can I say?
You still had those feelings that happened to you as a child, right?
Yeah,
the abuse.
And plus as well, I still, even though I stopped taking it, I still had desire to smoke, and but when I started coming to the meetings, I started doing a chain of prayer. That feeling was less and less until that desire didn't, because obviously being addicted for like over 25 years, it doesn't just leave you like that. So it was just what they was telling me to do, coming to the services, making a chain of prayer. This is what I was doing.
Did the prayers help you?
Yeah, the prayers helped me, and also to use my faith and to believe in myself as well. The abuse, it took longer, because even though I was there in the church and they was telling me, you know, you have to forgive, I used to just think that, oh, I've forgiven that person. But then I realised that I couldn't really move on. And I used to look at my daughter and think, you know, I couldn't trust her with people around anyone. So I knew that it was something that I never let go. Yeah. And it was just not, speaking about it helped, but also I had to kind of forgive myself as well, because I blame myself for those things that happened to me. So right. So I had to forgive myself as well as the person.
Was that harder to do than forgiving the one who abused you?
Yeah.
Forgiving yourself?
Forgiving myself, because my kids, losing my kids, it was a lot of things that, you know, regrets that I had, and emotionally, I had to kind of deal with that, to like let go, and until I done that, I wasn't able to move on. But when I done it, I was able to move on.
How is Maxine today?
Today I'm free. I'm no longer addicted. Today I'm working towards my own business.
Right.
I'm in a group in the church where we write to prisoners, helping in that group. I never thought that it's something that I wanted to do, but I have vision now for what I wanted to do. Before, my life was, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just thought that that's what was my life. Yeah. You know, to just be smoking, just wasting my life. So it's only when I started coming to the help centre that I started to have like goals.
You must have thought that the way you were living, that's how your life would be. That's how people would remember you.
I thought that my life, how I was living as well, I thought it was normal.
Normal?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was normal.
So, for example, you would see other people on the street, right? You would see other mothers there, happy with their children while yours were in care. You would see people, business people going to work. Didn't you think, this is not normal, I can be like that?
Because sometimes I never even see people, because in the daytime I used to sleep, nighttime I used to. So I didn't really, it didn't kind of, because time went past and it was like everything, I even remember as well, you know, when things like that, I kept on seeing it on the screen, but I was deep in my addiction, I didn't even know what it was until later on I realised, wow, it's like time just flew past, you know, and it was like I was still, it was so weird, like just everything was just flying, and like the computers and things like that, the phones, I didn't even, it's only until after that, 2005, that I learned to text
Really?
And yeah. So everything just like, it's when you're in addiction, it's like time is passing, but it's like you're still.
Yeah. So, just want to say, today your life has completely changed.
Completely different.
And actually, now you said you're in a group writing to inmates, right? So you're giving back to people. And you know, Maxine, thank you very much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
You know, and you can see that's the power of God. If no matter what you've tried, if you've tried counsellors, you've tried therapy, you've tried, you know, all kinds of AAs and things like that to help you, maybe you've been helped, but still there is that fear inside of you that one day I could go back to that lifestyle. You know, people that have come on this program, they're different. They've moved one step ahead and saying, you know what, I'm not going back to that. I don't have a fear of going back to it. And that's what God does. He gives you the certainty. He gives you the assurance. He gives you that strength that, you know what, I found me. My life is going forwards and upwards. If you want to feel like that, then please, you can give us a call and find out more information, right? And we can give you some advice, or even third-party organizations who will be able to help you, all right? So we're going to go for a break. When we come back, we're going to be going for the prayer, all right? So please join me after this.
Hi, the Chrissy B Show airs live on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, coming to your homes with entertainment, life issues as well as hard-hitting topics, coupled with friendly and practical advice. I love to look at the happier side of life and believe a person can achieve amazing things when they put their mind to it. The Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life.
Whatever your addiction, cigarettes, gambling or alcohol, Addiction Cleansing Therapy is a meeting that works to empower addicts and their families to break their dependence on their substance of choice and regain control over their lives. Addiction Cleansing Therapy. Welcome to your help centre. Conveniently located right here in the heart of Finsbury Park. Open 7 days a week with 4 services daily, there's surely something for everyone. No matter what time of day, there will always be a spiritual advisor on hand ready to speak to you. Or call our 24-hour helpline, your place to open up at any time of the day. If you're looking for motivational advice, a listening ear, or maybe just a prayer to put your mind at ease, then feel free to come in. No problem is too complex, so don't be dismayed. In fact, we have daily sessions that can tackle issues related to every area of your life, from the inside out. There's no appointment necessary, so you're welcome. And what's more, all the services we offer are all completely free. We offer practical, non-judgmental advice and motivational meetings that will give you the encouragement that you've been looking for. Also, if you're looking for special gifts or an inspirational read, then why not visit our bookshop? We have a comprehensive range of books and gifts at great prices. We also offer free childcare facilities during all of our meetings. So if you have little ones, let us take them off your hands. And for teens and youths, express your singing, dance and drama talent right here in our youth group. Proudly one of the biggest youth groups in the UK. If you need our support, you will find it. From the training centre that offers low-cost courses in media, business and language, to support groups for single parents, the elderly and the abused, free, confidential help is available. We work hard to provide for all your needs, from the inside out. Helping people is what drives us. So you're welcome.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Now, before we go for the prayer, I just want to ask Maxine, and this is gonna wrap up the program. You know what the topic's about tonight. So, Maxine, when you were a street walker, prostitute, crack cocaine addict, and I'm sure people used to know you on the streets.
Yes.
Now, since you've cleaned up and you've changed your life, how long has it been now?
4 years.
4 years. Have you ever gone back to that area and you've met people from your past?
Yeah, I have not literally gone back, but I've seen people from my area.
Yeah.
Where I used to be.
And have they seen the difference in you?
They don't recognise me. I have to call to them.
Really?
Yeah.
And say what?
Say who
I'm
I
Maxine.
am. I'm Maxine. It's me, Maxine.
And what's their reaction?
I think most of them are shocked. Most of them are happy that I've changed my life because they used to see how I was before.
Mm-hmm.
So
they don't even recognise the way you look today?
They don't recognise me.
And that's proof. That's proof of the change that God can do in one's life, in Maxine's life. And he can do the same in your life. He can take you from, the dunghill, the dust, and lift you up and make you an important person, that people look up to you and wonder, how did you get there? How did your life ever change? Maybe you can't see it right now at this precise moment in time, but Maxine didn't either. But it was a prayer. It was, advice. It was someone there to listen to her, to support her, to encourage her. That's why she is starting her own business. That's why all her children are with her. That's why she's not a prostitute or a crack addict anymore. She is living a normal life. And maybe your life is not normal. Do you want some normality to your life? Do you want to achieve what you've always set out to become? Maybe a situation has put a halt to that, but you want your life to change. You can start now with this prayer. So get your glass of water ready. I'm going to pray and bless it. And when you drink it, I'm going to pray that God removes anything that's been hurting you, inside of you, affecting you, so you can be free tonight. It's time for prayer.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer concerning your spiritual well-being, send your name and prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
Father, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, we have people who have a dark secret. People who are at home now. Maybe we have prostitutes looking at this program, watching this program. Maybe we have drug addicts now in front of their TV, about to roll up a joint, about to sniff a line of cocaine. Maybe they're going to inject themselves with crack cocaine. We have people here who've been abused and they've been holding that pain inside of them for so many years. My Lord, you can help each and every one of them. And the thing is, you don't judge them as people do. In actual fact, you love them. But you can't do anything for this person unless they come to you, unless they approach you, they pray to you and ask for help. So my God, if this person, in their heart of hearts, they want a change. They don't know how, but they don't want to be where they are right now in life. So bless this water, my God. And when they'll drink it, cleanse, take away this grudge, take away this addiction, remove anything that's been negative, eating away at them, and give them a new start. This is what I pray. I determine this glass of water blessed. Drink it now and be renewed. Become a different person. In Jesus Christ's name. You will be remembered as the person whose life influenced and changed others. Can you picture yourself like that? I can. Just put your faith, put your hope and your trust in God. All right? Until the next time, have a wonderful evening. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.